How's it going, everybody? Thank you very much for hanging out for a little bit. I'm Orlando Ruiz Jr., and welcome to another classic movie review. So, for this one, I'm talking about The Great Escape. This is a long one, it's about 3 hours long, but for me, it's definitely worth getting through because even though there are some scenes that drag on a bit, a lot of dialogue, a lot of exposition, there's great payoff in this film, and the third act of this film is very exciting. This was directed by John Sturges. This is a story about a group of American and British soldiers that are in a POW camp in Poland during World War II, sort of trying to wait out the war and find ways to escape. This has one of my favorite all-time casts in any film. We got Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen is one of those actors that is cool. Every time I've seen him in a movie, he's just always super cool. Whether it's Bullet, whether it's The Towering Inferno, he's always been one of those guys that is the go-to guy for getting something done, being the best at what he does. And it's very impressive actually to see him at the big chase scene at the end of the film on this motorcycle where he's just kind of going over all kinds of hills and making jumps and just trying to evade the Gestapo and the Nazis. There is a lot of excitement in this film, and it gets very tense as this group of men tries to dig three different tunnels just in case they get caught into one of them, they can go into the other. They actually name the tunnels Tom, Dick, and Harry, and a lot of work goes into the preparation before the big escape. Our main character, played by Steve McQueen, who plays the role of Hiltz, is a guy that gets sort of in trouble a lot, tries to escape a lot. Sometimes he manages to escape, and he comes back because he gets caught because he's really not trying to escape. He's out there doing reconnaissance. In this film, besides Steve McQueen, we also get a very young Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson really surprised me with his acting in this film because I am familiar with some of his films. I loved him in, of course, the Death Wish movies. He's great in a movie called The Stone Killer. He's also great in the Valachi Papers. He's also great in the original The Mechanic, a movie that was remade years later with Jason Statham. Bronson plays the role of Danny in the film, and his character is someone that is afraid of enclosed areas and small spaces. And so when there is a scene in which dirt falls on him while he's tunneling through one of the holes, and he has like this really bad traumatic experience, it has an effect on him throughout the movie where he decides he can't even wait for the big day. He just wants to get out of there. So there's one scene where he makes an attempt to escape in the middle of the night by just trying to leave through the wires, cut some of the barbed wires, and a friend of him stops him because he's gonna mess it up for everybody, might get himself killed. And Charles Bronson really did show that he could do some serious acting, especially for a guy that was always sort of a tough guy in his movies. He was quite vulnerable as Danny and showed a real human side that I hadn't seen prior to watching this film. We also have James Garner. James Garner was in the old Maverick television series and Rockford Files. He was one of those guys that a lot of people grew up watching, and as an older actor was in a lot of films. I've always liked James Garner. I think he has a really cool sense of humanity to him and brings a dignity to any role that he portrays, whether it's on film or on television. And he definitely brings that sensibility to The Great Escape. And we also have Donald Pleasance in this film. Donald Pleasance is known to a lot of people for playing Dr. Sam Loomis in John Carpenter's Halloween and the sequels. And he was also a Bond villain in one of my favorite Sean Connery Bond films from 1967, You Only Live Twice. Donald Pleasance's character is very sympathetic and very likable, especially because his character does have a problem with his eyesight. And so when it finally comes time for the big escape, he needs help. And of course, James Garner, being the class act that he is, decides he's going to stand by him and stick with him all through the escape, make sure that he has somebody to guide him. And so he is his seeing eye man for the most part towards the latter end of the film. Richard Attenborough is also in this film. For those of you that might not be familiar with that name, he was John Hammond in Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park: The Lost World. Also played Kris Kringle in the remake of Miracle on 34th Street from 1994. And he's really great in this film. A lot of people don't know that he was also a great director. Also directed the 1982 film starring Ben Kingsley, Gandhi. The movie gives everybody their moments, and this is a great ensemble movie because of that. And so you can feel the runtime on this movie because of a lot of exposition dialogue scenes. Once the big night of the escape finally comes, and it's very exciting build up to that, everybody sort of has to go their separate ways once the plan doesn't go accordingly. And so, of course, Steve McQueen goes off on his own on this bike chase through the hills of Poland, and you got James Gardner and Donald Pleasant's character trying to make their way out of Poland on train, and then when that doesn't work out, they end up in a plane. It gets really exciting. And then, of course, you got James Coburn, who is pretty much trying to bicycle his way out of there. Everybody has their own little route that they take. You got the character played by Richard Attenborough, who is being accompanied by another fellow escapee, and everybody has their speed bumps and hurdles that they go through in trying to make it and get out of this situation. This is one of those movies that is just fun to watch because of this cast, because of the characters that they play, because of the relationships and the chemistry, and because of the plan, because of the way things don't always go to plan, and so they have to sort of improvise. It's just very, very fun. It's a fun ride. In all honesty, this is definitely a film that I can see some people being bored with, especially for a large portion in the middle. There are some scenes that I felt could have been cut down or even taken out because what we really want to see is the final act, the big escape scene. Well, I should say the big escape sequences. All of these actors have tremendous chemistry, and they really do make this film a solid good time. And even though this movie is lengthy, I very much enjoy it, and I give this movie 3 stars. This is one of those films that I know can be found on streaming because the first time I actually watched it in its completion was on Amazon Prime, but then not long after that, they took it off, so I had to get my own copy. So the hard copies are out there. That is Steve McQueen right there on the motorcycle, and that is one of the iconic scenes in the film, and highly recommend you guys check this out. The Great Escape, a lot of fun, and yeah, great classic movie. So thank you very much for checking this review out. Highly appreciate you watching, and please look out for more reviews. If you're into this kind of thing, hit that bell and subscribe. Please like, comment, share, and look out for the next classic movie review. Thank you very much for your time. Take care of yourselves, and God bless.